So if you just saw my last video, we talked about WrestleMania Night 1 and we reviewed it and it was amazing. Now this is the same day, which is why I have the same outfit on. So if you watch that video, no, this is not a different day. This is the same exact day and I'm wearing the same exact outfit because I'm not changing for each video I record the same day. With that being said, WrestleMania Night 2 was a roller coaster of a ride. Night 1 had its ups and downs, but it's really hard for me to think about a down to this night right here. I mean, this might be the greatest night in WrestleMania history. It was amazing. The ride was a very special one. So without further ado, let's just get right into it and let's review WrestleMania 40 Night 2. This show starts off with an amazing opener. I mean, beautiful opener with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it was amazing. Mind you, Triple H was getting some backlash because he started off night 1 with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship, the Raw Women's Championship, and people were complaining about how he started off for the championships match and it was because they were women. Triple H completely disproved this right here with opening up this night with Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship match. And on top of that, those were both very great matches. But let's talk about this one because this one was great for a lot of different reasons. When I tell you that this match started off amazing, Drew McIntyre started off hitting the Claymore off the bat with the finisher, man. It was amazing. 1-2, Seth kicks out. I mean, I was driving watching this. I know I shouldn't be driving and watching WrestleMania at the same time, but I was driving watching this, and I promise you, bro, I almost put the car in park. I almost put the car in park. I had to sit back. This man hit Seth Rollins off the bat with a Claymore. It was amazing. And they were doing some really good work with him focusing on the knee and the back of Seth Rollins. And it was really just all Drew this match. Seth Rollins got some momentum build up. But the best thing about this was that everything that Drew McIntyre said was right. Seth Rollins was being held together. First off, his entrance was amazing. But Seth Rollins was being held together by duct tape and super glue. Him focusing on the bloodline. Him having a match the night before. It was affecting him. Drew McIntyre was targeting the injuries, the known injuries that Seth Rollins has throughout the match. But what's so beautiful about this story is that it all comes back to bite Drew McIntyre. Because Drew McIntyre ends this match winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And I believe that was the right decision. It was the right call. But at the end, just how Seth Rollins got too focused on the bloodline, the stuff from his past coming back to bite him, and more worried about the bloodline instead of the championship. Everything Drew McIntyre said was correct, but Drew McIntyre again showed his hypocrisy by worrying about CM Punk, somebody from his past coming to bite him, not directly, but just letting it linger and bother him. And after the match, he goes and messes with CM Punk, provokes CM Punk, and CM Punk strikes back, beating down Drew McIntyre after a very hard-fought battle with Seth Rollins. A WrestleMania cash-in. Unironically, they both kind of involve Seth Rollins. Damian Priest cashes in his Money in the Bank contract. It is amazing. He comes out, his music hits. I really didn't think they were going to do it. Like I'm going to be honest, I did not expect Damian Priest to come out. I didn't. They just have done a really bad job of not having him come out during certain times where Seth Rollins gets beat up. But I did hear that we go back a few Raws and we talk about Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. Damian Priest made a promise to Finn Balor not to ever cash in on Seth. And of course, Roman Reigns isn't really there. And that would make sense per storyline. But as soon as he gets the advantage on Drew McIntyre, he comes out with the Money in the Bank briefcase. He cashes his in, hits his finisher. It's over. Damian Priest is our new World Heavyweight Champion. And it was just such beautiful storytelling. Also, Seth Rollins was very emotional when the match was over. Just amazing storytelling. I love this match because, man, Seth Rollins knows how to wrestle, man. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, they know how to put on the opener. I love the match. Great. Just great. Next up, we had a match between AOP and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. This was a street fight, and Bubba Ray Dudley came out, and Snoop Dogg was on commentary, and people were asking for tables. This was just a very roller coaster-like match. This was the worst match on the card, but it wasn't a bad match at all. It was just like an average filler WrestleMania match. And they did do some WrestleMania-like stuff with some spots. I know the table broke and they kind of messed up the finish. But besides that, it was a pretty alright. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It was a pretty alright match, and Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits picked up the win, which they should have. And on top of that, the star power with Bubba Ray Dudley and Snoop Dogg being on commentary, all that kind of added to the match as well, because this was a feud that kind of was lackluster in its build. But besides that, this was a pretty solid match and didn't need to do too much more than it already did. Next up, we had AJ Styles versus LA Knight. And AJ Styles introduced a new theme song this time. I'm not really feeling it. But besides that, this match was pretty solid too. This wasn't like a super, oh my goodness, they're a 5-star classic. Not it's a solid like 3-4 star match, but it was a pretty good match, and it had a really good feud behind it, a really good build, good reasons for them to be feuding, with AJ Styles feeling hurt by LA Knight because he walked over him to get a match at Roman Reigns, and LA Knight basically said, I didn't care, and he hated that so much that he flew all the way to Australia at Elimination Chamber to cost LA Knight a chance at the title. And then on top of that, them going to each other's house and beating each other up at the media press conference. It was just such an amazing build of just hatred. And I don't want this to end. I want every time LA Knight and AJ Styles to see each other, it's just on site. Like, no matter what's going on, they just start fighting. To me, that was amazing. But besides that, amazing build and a really good match. It wasn't amazing. I'm not going to spend too much time because this wasn't one of those big feuds, but this wasn't a, oh my gosh, 5-star classic. This was a really good match with a really good build, and that's it. I'll leave it at that. Now, besides 2 mid, maybe above mid matches that I just talked about, everything else is a classic. Everything else is a certified classic. I mean, goodness. So first, let's talk about the triple threat match between Randy Orton, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens. Just a beautiful match overall. This starts out with just Kevin Owens and Randy Orton beating up Logan Paul, and then they eventually kind of like look at each other. Logan Paul goes back, they start beating him up again, and then they start fighting. And for the first half, it was kind of on the premise of building up that when is Randy Orton and Kevin Owens then try to like attack each other. Randy Orton goes for an RKO out of nowhere on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens stops him, and they just start looking at each other, and Kevin Owens like, hey, bro, you trying to fight? And Randy's like, yeah, I might as well. He's like, I bet. They start fighting each other. And Logan Paul takes advantage of that, and we had a few insane spots. So Randy Orton's bringing back the punt kick. Amazing, by the way. And he's finna hit Logan with the punt kick, and he goes for it, and the prime bottle that comes out with Logan all the time pulls him out the way. And Randy Orton's looking at the prime bottle, takes off the mask, and it's I Show Speed. And so Speed pulled Logan out the way, saved him, and of course it's no DQ, so can't get in trouble for that. And so Randy Orton goes out there, Speed starts barking at Randy. Randy kicks him, takes off the prime costume, puts him on the, I think, Spanish announcer's table, barks back at Speed, and RKO's him through the table. I don't think the table broke, but RKO's him on the table. And there was an insane spot with the pop-up RKO. Oh, I'm surprised nobody's talking about that. That's amazing. I was thinking about that. I told my family, I was like, what if Randy Orton, Kevin Owens goes up for a pop-up powerbomb and Randy Orton reverses it with an RKO? That might be the greatest RKO of all time. It wasn't, but it definitely is like top 3, top 5 now. That RKO was amazing. I'm surprised nobody else is talking about that. With that being said, Logan Paul sneaks out. He throws Randy Orton into the post, hits Kevin Owens with his, I think, a frog splash, a 450 frog splash, and takes the win. I feel like Logan Paul needs to retain. I feel like his reign should end to like a person on the rise, like a Braun Breaker or whatnot. That's what I feel like should end Logan Paul's streak, getting somebody's name out there rather than a legend like Kevin Owens or Randy Orton, who already have their names cemented in WWE Hall of Fame history, picking up the win there. But that's fine. I'm fine with Kevin Owens. I'm fine with Logan Paul winning, and I feel like they need to do more stuff with the prime bottles, having a celebrity in there. And once again, that was such a great match. Next up, we have Bayley and Io Sky. Now, this match was a very good build, and I think this match was slightly better than Rhea versus Becky from night 1. This match had a lot more emotion to it because of what happened with Damage Control and Bailey. This match had a lot more umph to it. There were a lot of impressive spots. There was some stuff that Io was doing off the ropes, hitting Bailey with some kicks off the ropes. It was just really good. Io was really showing her in-ring work, and it just overall just turned out Bailey was just better, and that was it. And it wasn't no interference from Damage Control. It wasn't interference from Naomi and her group, because Naomi's a supporter of Bailey. None of that. It was just Bailey versus Io Sky, running ones, and I feel like it was done well. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because in terms of story, there wasn't a lot told in the match, but it was just a really good match. And honestly, it's one of those women's matches that if there's anybody critiquing the women out there in 2024, show them that match, show them the Rhea Charlotte Flair match, should you even show them the Night 1 match. These are just matches that are just going to go down as WrestleMania classics. Phenomenal match. And of course, Bailey did pick up the win and become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. So let's get into the main event. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. My goodness, the WrestleMania that match that broke the internet. this broke the internet, man. So it starts off with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes just putting on a really classic match. They were putting on a really just solid 4 or 5-star match. In-ring work was amazing. Roman was talking his trash like usual. And then, of course, once Roman gets a little bit, I don't think Roman was finna lose, but just because they can, Jimmy comes out, super kicks Cody, and he's helping Roman up. And then you hear Jay's music, and Jimmy goes out to fight Jay, and Jay spears him through a table near the rampway. It was amazing. That was a crazy spot. That was almost better than anything they did in their actual matches, their actual match they had on Mania. But man, that was a crazy spot. I loved it. I think it was great. Then we have Solo come out. So they go back to fight, and then Solo comes out. And this is where my GOAT, comes in. So Solo's like, hey, finish his story. They hit him with a spear, Samoan spike. And Cody, in a Super Cena way, ironically, kicks out. And Solo is looking at Roman and Cody lay on the ground. He's like, bro, how did he kick out? Solo's frustrated. And then you hear the duh, duh. And it's John Cena's music. He comes out and he runs to the ring and he starts hitting Solo. Boom, boom, boom. And he clothesline Solo out the ring. We get an attitude adjustment to Roman Reigns, and we get an attitude adjustment through the announcer's table. I'm pretty sure it was the English announcer's table this time. And then you hear The Rock's music hit as Cena's face is panning into the camera. And we get a WrestleMania 28-29 flashback. They have a stare down. It's iconic. The crowd is chanting, holy, you know what? And it's amazing. It was amazing. And then you had half the crowd chanting Rocky. You had half the crowd chanting Cena. Perfect. In my opinion, it was perfect. You had half the crowd chanting Rocky. You had half the crowd chanting Cena. It was perfect. It was perfect. Cena does You Can't See Me, goes for a swing, Rock bottom. The Rock's telling him to get out of here. And right when Rock takes off the weight belt, goes to whip Cody Rhodes with the Mama Rhodes belt, you hear the Shield's music. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting the Shield's music, but we'll get to how important that was in terms of story in a minute. But that was just such a iconic story-driven return. And so Seth Rollins comes out from behind The Rock. The Rock's facing, I think, to the left of the crowd. If he was facing the WrestleMania sign, it would be the left of the crowd. If he was facing the rampway, it would be the right of the crowd. And he's facing that way, telling him to come on. Seth Rollins comes from behind him, and Roman Reigns slides back in the ring, Superman punch, and it was Seth Rollins in Shield gear with a chair. Now, we'll get to how that affects the story later. So then, Rock's getting ready to whip both of them. And you hear the bells ring. It's The Undertaker. The lights go out. The crowd's going crazy. Everybody's flashlight is on. And the bell rings again. We hear the bell again. And it's The Undertaker standing right behind DJ. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. Choke slam to The Rock. And he slides out the ring. The Rock's out. And now it's just Roman, Seth, and Cody. And Roman Reigns grabs the chair. He's the only one standing. But Cody's getting back to his feet pretty quickly. But Seth Rollins, he's taking his time. He's taking his time getting up. And Roman's looking at each of them. He's like, who do I hit with the chair? And instead of choosing to retain his belt, instead of choosing to continue to be the tribal chief, to continue his 1,300-day plus reign, he decides to get revenge on what happened 10 years ago, 11 years ago, to the Shield. He decides to get revenge on Seth Rollins, hitting him in the same way, and Seth falls the same way Roman did when he took the chair shot to the back all those years ago. And he turns around, goes for a spear. Cody counters because he's recovered by then. 3 crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody finishes his story. It was amazing. It was so I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it because he's just been champion for so long. I couldn't believe it. But that's WrestleMania Night 2. It was an Avengers Endgame feeling with legends coming back and music hitting and multiple people fighting, and finally Cody beats the Thanos-like figure in Roman Reigns. And of course it's not over for Roman's story. It's not over for Cody's story because he's just become champion. But goodness, that felt like a finale. That felt like a genuine finale to a saga, and we're entering in a new era. And I cannot wait to see the stuff that Cody's reign has in store. I cannot wait to see what's in store for Roman. He posted something, I think, earlier today or yesterday. It's gonna be good. But with that being said, WrestleMania Night 2 was phenomenal. It was an Avengers Endgame-like feeling. We had all the legends coming out. Randy Orton, I think Kevin Owens, some other people coming out to celebrate. Let me know what y'all thought about WrestleMania Night 2 in the comment section below. I'm just reminiscing on it. That's it. Make sure I leave a like, subscribe. Tell me your favorite match, what happened on WrestleMania Night 2, whether it was the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match, whether it was the triple threat with Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul. Tell me your favorite match that happened on the Night 2 card. I'll see you on the next video.